Don't panic. Recently, power went out in another country and it caused a lot of issues, and they may not be back up to full power for several days. So I don't actually keep a whole lot of emergency supplies on hand as far as food goes. I do have an emergency bucket with dehydrated food on hand for extreme emergencies, earthquakes, and things like that. But I wanted to change my mentality here for just a little bit, just in light of some of the things that have been happening recently. And I do want to have some things on hand that my family will actually eat, because my kids are very, very picky. So today I want to show you what kinds of things that I need to go pick up and keep on hand to make sure that we're all set for emergency situations. Let's get started. So one reason why I'm also picking up some of these emergency supplies is I'm not really sure what's going to happen with prices and as far as things being kept on the shelves in the coming months. So I wanted to just kind of have a little bit of a backup plan just in case. And I went over budget in April, and I really don't have anything extra to do a grocery shop. So this is going to be additional money that I'm going to have to pull out and use for this. So I am not 100% sure what my budget is going to be. I need to sit down and kind of write an inventory and figure out what I need. But let me show you what I've got so far. I placed an order last night that came today, and I want to show you what I started with, and then I'm going to take you shopping and show you what I'm going to pick up to kind of complete things and make sure it's well-rounded. So first and foremost, I want to make sure I have plenty of proteins on hand. So canned chicken is something I did not have on hand, and I wanted to make sure that I had a few ready to go in my pantry, and this is good until February of 2027. So I'm just going to keep these as emergency food. I'm not going to put them in my regular meal planning. I also got some more dried beans. These are pinto beans, and obviously you would need a heat source to, cook these up. So this is something that I might, not overstock on, because I wanted to make sure these are things that I can, just have on hand to just pop open. So I did get some canned beans, which I can eat straight from the can if necessary. And my husband and I will eat these, but I doubt my kids will eat canned beans, straight from the can. I also got some other beans as well, cannellini beans. And then some veggies. I did get a can of corn and a can of sweet peas. But I think I'm going to go pick up a few more cans of veggies at the store because they are less expensive at Aldi, so I may do that. Coffee is something that I personally don't want to live without, so I went ahead and picked up a couple of my favorite coffees. And the reason why I didn't do K-cups, first of all, I'm trying to get away from the single-use plastics as much as possible. And I recently found these, finally, that are not plastic. They're stainless steel. So I'm going to go ahead and give these a try, and I'll let you know how they turn out too with my favorite coffee. But definitely pick whatever, you like. And then some dry powdered milk. Now, this is a kind of new concept to me. I actually have never even heard of dry milk until I made my own hot cocoa mix last year. And so I bought this giant container, and this is only good until the end of the year though. So I'm going to be able to use this in homemade hot cocoa mix, which is great. But if not, if an emergency happens, I can just put this in my coffee, or, make milk by adding water, or it could be used for baking and all kinds of things. And of course I did add some rice too. And along with powdered milk, I went ahead and bought some of these shelf stable milks. This is the Horizon milk, but it is only good until September. So that is something to think about. This is not going to be necessarily a long-term choice, but it is going to be great for my kids if I, for some reason, can't find milk on the shelves. Although we do have dairy farms nearby, so I really don't think that's going to be a problem. So I'm just going to kind of hide this in the garage and make sure the kids don't see it so they don't drink it right now. And then I'll make sure that we use it before the best by date. I personally like to keep a lot of dry ingredients on hand as well. So I do already have some lentils and beans and quinoa and barley and sugar and salt and oats. And I do have some pinto beans already back there. Plus I do have some of these fruit cups for emergencies, and a lot of flour and some pancake mix, plus some rice as well, and a ton of baking soda, baking powder, powdered sugar, just all of the things that I might need to start cooking with, I do have on hand. So that's a great start already, which this is a normal thing for me because I cook a lot from scratch. Personally, I wouldn't even recommend getting flour as a backup thing for you if you don't cook. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, because I used to do that before I really cooked from scratch a lot. I would have a ton of flour and sugar and all that stuff on hand, and it would go bad because I just didn't cook that often. So if it's not something you're going to use, do not buy it. Do not buy a backup. But if it is something that you use frequently, you definitely have it on hand. And this is what my emergency stash looks like right now. So it is relatively small. These are not emergency things here, but I do have 3 of these jarred soups that I found on clearance, a couple of these, high sodium pouches that you can just heat up. But these are great because they do have protein and fiber in them. So they're really great to have as like emergency food. And I do have some canned fish, tuna and salmon. These are things that my daughter will eat and I will eat. My husband will eat, my son will not eat that. So there are some things in here that some of us will eat and some of us won't. My son will eat these chicken and stars soups or other different canned soups. So I like to keep these on hand, not just for regular emergencies, but like if I get sick or my son gets sick, these are really great to have on hand just to grab. Same thing with the ramen. We don't eat it very often, but I like to keep it on hand for emergencies or for the time when, my son is having a really rough day or feeling sick. That's kind of his like little treat food back there. Lots of vinegar. I use this for cleaning fruit and vegetables, but it's also great for household cleaning. And it's just you can use it to preserve things. So this is a really great thing to keep on hand. And it only costs maybe $3 or $4 for a giant jug. And thankfully we are all set for snack foods and lots of different candies and things. We had celebrations recently and other things that got us all stocked up. So I think we're good on shelf stable snacks. So I don't have to do that, but I do think it would be a good idea to have a backup of some shelf stable things. If you have kids that are picky, it would be great to just have a few things on hand for them to be able to have in a situation like that. Electrolyte drinks are also another great thing to have on hand because they're little packets you can add to water and get essential vitamins and things like that. They even make some for kids too. So I think this is something that I will always keep on hand just in case, because they've really helped us before just in general. And I think in an emergency situation, these would be really handy to make sure that we all have the right nutrients that we need every single day. Also, do not forget to supply your medications and your supplements and just have a little bit extra on hand of things like that, just to make sure you're all set. And don't forget about the pets. You've got to have extra dog food, cat food, bird food, whichever pet you have on hand, plus any medications that they may require. Just make sure you have a little bit of a backup on hand. Water is also a very, very important thing to keep on hand. I know that's kind of obvious, but having some sort of bottled water or a jug of water, water purifying system, some sort of way for you to get water, because you cannot live without water. So just having something on hand that could help just in case of emergencies. I like to keep bottled water and jugs of water, but you can definitely just do a water purification straw or system, something like that, that would make it a little bit easier for you to get access to water. Okay, y'all, let's head to the store and pick up a few other things. I did write myself a list. I always recommend writing yourself a list before you head to the store, just to make sure you don't overdo it. This way I can also write down prices and know exactly what I'm about to spend, so I don't get surprised at the checkout line. Okay, let's see, yeast, $1.09. And I think, let's see, this is good until 2026, so I'll get 2. There we go. I'll just get one of these just to have. $6.39. Never seen these ones. Pasta rings and meatballs and tomato sauce, 97 cents. 17 grams of protein in the can. A ton of sodium, but this would be good for emergencies. Maybe I'll get a couple. Meat sticks, $6.99. These are really good for emergencies. This is the other thing I wanted to get. Good until March 2026. Okay, honey is another thing I do not want to run out of, and it like never goes bad. And I like this SoCal honey. See, it says good till 2026, but really it lasts longer than that. This is a pretty good price on rice too. $5.89 for 80 ounces. That's 5 pounds. This is the one I normally buy. That's until 2027. And oats is another thing. $3.95. 5 grams of protein and half a cup. 4 grams of fiber. 150 calories. And there's 30 servings in this. Okay, so definitely get this. I wonder if they have canned lentils. They have this dried green lentils here. Only $1.39. My favorite. 11 grams of protein, 5 grams of fiber. Good until when? March 2026. Okay, perfect. And there's the salt, 59 cents, and good till 2035. I want to get some pasta sauce. September 2026. These are $2.29 each. Pasta's another one, $1.89. You can get 2 pounds. And what I love about this, good till 2027, but it also does have protein, 8 grams of protein, 2 grams of fiber in just 2 ounces. And this has 16 servings, so you really can't beat that for emergencies. If you can cook it, if you have water. Canned ingredients are next. I'm looking for peas. Look at some sweet peas, 78 cents. Because these do have protein, 3 grams of protein in half a cup. Plus 3 grams of fiber. And I love peas. And beans, of course. Maybe chili beans because they're delicious. 89 cents. And I could eat these straight out of the can for sure. 7 grams of protein, 5 grams of fiber, and that's just in half a cup, and there's 3.5 servings. I might as well get a can of chickpeas as well. 85 cents for that. Maybe some baked beans, $1.99, but it's 28 ounces. Spam, $1.85. I think I might get one Spam too, because I know my son will eat that. I know it's got a ton of sodium, but it's an emergency. 7 grams protein, no fiber, 630 milligrams of sodium, but 180 calories, and that's in only 2 ounces. This before, ooh, 2029, okay. That's a really long time. Paper plates are good to have on hand too, just in case something to eat on and you can just throw it away. $1.25 for the jugs of water, which are good until when? There it is at the bottom. Best if used by October 2026. So I do have a few on hand, but I might as well just get 2 more. These are only $1.25. $6.99 for this one. Dark, low acidity. I should grab one of these to try. Good until 2026. Okay, that'll work for me. Okay, and this is everything I'm picking up in Aldi today. Not too bad. I only spent $77.39 to make sure we're nice and stocked up. I'm at Costco now, and this place is crazy, but I am going to try to show you a few things. I love things like this for emergency food. This one I think is $15 for 12 sticks, and it lasts until April of 2026, so about a year right now. But this is great for, you get 10 grams of protein in 1 stick, so that could be really good as a little snack, and it just lasts a really long time. Nuts are a really big deal for me to have on hand. I like to have peanuts on hand all the time, almonds, things like that. See, something like this would last until April of 2026, which is a year, and that could be really good to have on hand for fiber, protein, and calories as well. Now, I've never seen these before. Refried Mayakoba beans, and those are the ones I just made for the first time. I never had them before. It's so funny. They're delicious. This is a really good price on chia seeds. $8.69 and get 3 pounds. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get these. I can keep them in my refrigerator to last them, make them last longer. This is another bean I've never seen before. Peruana beans. I wonder what they taste like. Oh, they're kind of yellow. And it's $24.99. It's $1 per pound. So I'm looking at getting this avocado oil. It is $21.49, $10.75 per liter. So that's going to be about 4 of the bottles I normally get at Aldi, and they're normally $6 a bottle at Aldi. So this would be a good price, but it only lasts until April of 2026, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use it before then. So I'm going to go ahead and add it though, just to have it on hand. And that's a really good price on honey, and this is also SoCal. It's $12.49. You get 48 ounces. That's a great deal. And the prices are already way up on coffee, I've noticed. So it's a good thing I got a couple of containers of coffee, so I don't have to get it for a little while. But this is a good price on this whole bean. It's $9.24 a pound. I know I paid like $3 more on Amazon yesterday for that, so I should have waited and got it here. But this is best before December of 2025, and I don't know that I would use it all before then. So I'm going to keep the grounds that I have on hand in the freezer for now too, I think. I'm not positive. I've never done that before, but maybe it'll make it last longer. And this is definitely where I would pick up shelf-stable milks, and I'd also pick up wipes. I already got toilet paper and paper towels, so I'm good on those. This is where I'd get that for sure. This price is so good. $13.79 for an 18 pack. The ones I've got on Amazon were $20. So this is a much better price. I'm gonna go ahead and get one of these. And this is good until January of next year. This is all I am getting today at Costco. These 3 things are going to be part of my emergency buildup. I might end up digging into these a little early though, just to make sure I use them in time before they expire. And I think I'll put them in the freezer too. And then this one is just because the price was too good to resist. I'm back from the store and I spent about $200 on everything. I didn't have to get the chia seeds there, but that is something that I do love to have on hand. And they are just one of those power foods that I love, protein and fiber and all that. But I do feel a lot better having all of these things on hand for the coming months, just to know that I have a backup plan if something does happen. And I just have to make sure that I continue to take inventory and keep an eye on the expiration dates to make sure that I do use this up before it expires in about a year or so. I do also want to mention that on here it does say you can make an egg substitute for baking with the chia seeds. So that's something to keep in mind. I just love that it has iron, calcium, potassium, protein, fiber. It's got 10 grams of fiber and just 3 tablespoons and 150 calories also. And it's amazing. You just have to soak it before you eat it. I usually like to add these to my oats. So if in an emergency, I would do water, oats, and chia seeds, and I would be super satisfied for several hours. Now with all my grains and my pasta and everything, I am going to put these in the freezer for a few days before I store them. And I think I may end up putting these in jars as well, because if there are any weevil eggs in the grains, this will make sure that nothing hatches from them. I know that's an icky thing, but it definitely happens. It has happened to me. And so I always try to freeze my grains first before they get stored, just in case. You just never know. And I definitely would have picked up toilet paper and paper towels and paper plates, but I do already have those things on hand with one backup as well. A few weeks ago, I decided to just pick up a backup of those things because honestly, since the pandemic, sometimes people get a little cuckoo bananas with the paper products. So I just wanted to make sure I got ahead of that. But now that I have all of this, I do feel a lot better going forward. And if I forgot anything, please be sure to let us know down in the comments. And that way we can all kind of add to this conversation. And again, don't panic. If you don't have extra in the budget to go out and get some emergency supplies right now, you could just do $5 here and there every single week to add a couple of cans of beans or chicken or something to your stockpile to kind of have something on hand. It doesn't have to be this extreme. This to me is pretty extreme to have on hand, but just do what you're comfortable with and try to focus on the foods that are higher in protein, fiber, and calories, and just make sure that it's something that you'll actually eat, because you are gonna have to eat it eventually. I hope y'all found this video helpful, and YouTube thinks that you'd like to watch another video, so go ahead and click on that, enjoy it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.